You're about to hear the most informative, inspirational, persuasive show in America, the James A. Hendricks School of Leadership.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, Labor Day. I wasn't going to podcast today, but was looking for some nifty ways to spend Labor Day alone. Of course, I stumbled across this leftist site. Don't know why I did. It's like, why the heck are we celebrating Labor Day in September? Folks, are we going to sit there and let them take a power crescent wrench and strip away every bit of the foundation in America? We are going to cover listen to me. We are going to cover the news the best way we know how. Okay, so get ready. Going to CBN News. First one is in the microbiome thing. Some doctors from the Mayo Clinic and stuff are saying that a healthy gut can make a healthy life. I think that's a good one. The second one, the story is it too late to save America? Now, I couldn't read the story, but I'm going to give you my own unique perspective as a Latter-day Saint. It's not too late to save this country. The lead theologian who founded my church back in the 1830s, he is once quoted as saying, "The Constitution of the United States will hang by a thread, but the elders in Israel, the Christian men who are grafted into Israel, they will stand up and defend it." So, guys, the burden's on us. And ladies, you know what? I'm going to put you on a pedestal here. You can still save America too, because you're just as blessed. But we got to start standing up and defending what's right. There is a cry throughout all this land saying, "Make America great again." Sadly, though, in between the two parties, we cannot agree. So, and I'm just going to be, I'm going to be honest with you. I will support Donald Trump no matter what. And some people, well, I can't do that because of the indictment. Who do you think is cooking up these indictments? The left. Because they do not want him in office. Well, I'm sorry, but I do. I do because he calls it like it is. Because he runs this country. Because he ran this country like a businessman. Are we scared of going back to some of the tried and true ways and having a citizen legislature and all this? Are we scared of that? I hope not. All right. I'm trying to find some decent stories. Oh, here's an interesting one. West Point time capsule that appeared to contain nothing more than silt yields, centuries-old coins. You know, maybe that's a sign of something. I'm going to advocate for this because I think, and I don't know whether Trump is going to do that, and I think it should be. We need to go back on the gold standard. Okay. Here's another news story. This is the last one we're going to analyze today. Top psychiatrist says, go back to church. As loneliness now a major U.S. health threat. Yes, loneliness is at pandemic proportions. Okay, guys? We got all these, COVID scares and stuff in the left, and how about loneliness? The left needs to stop experimenting with our lives. I want you to listen to this from CBN News.
The U.S. Surgeon General says loneliness is now a public health threat so severe that it's on par with smoking and obesity. CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson explains why it's become so widespread and how we can begin to reconnect with others.
America's top doctor sees loneliness as a painful secret affecting far too many Americans, including himself.
Because this is an issue so many people struggle with in the shadows, and they don't talk about their loneliness because they feel ashamed. And that was true for me as well.
Like many others, Dr. Vivek Murthy experienced it as a child and again as an adult.
It was my wife, Alice, who stepped in and said, hey, I'm worried about you because you're not reaching out to people. You're not socializing with your friends.
Research shows loneliness increases the risk of physical ailments like heart disease, dementia, and stroke, plus mental ones including depression, anxiety, and suicide. Doctors find the possibility of premature death due to loneliness could equal that of smoking 15 cigarettes a day and greater than living with obesity. New surveys show as many as half of adults are struggling with loneliness, and even greater numbers of children are. That may seem surprising since children appear to be connecting with each other on these things all the time. Technology, however, serves as a poor substitute for in-person connection, experts are learning.
I actually believe we're on the beginning of a tidal wave of brain and mental health problems in young people. And it's because we're just more disconnected than ever before. Disconnected from our own families because when people are together, their faces are buried in their gadgets.
Psychiatrist Daniel Amen blames the pandemic for making this problem exponentially worse. He believes we can turn things around by cutting back on screen time and returning to in-person activities.
So it's back to church.
Come back to church. I have to agree with that. Come back to church. Get involved in whatever activities you can. Many of you know that back in January I started an ACM business, and you want to know something? I'm not giving up on that. I'm not giving up on that. I'm going to speak my heart. It's not too late to save America. But I've eliminated these sources of secular news. Because I agree, I'm using my words, not his, but my good friend Dave says, he told me back in 2020, limit your news sources that you get. And so, and this is not an easy thing, but if you just overwhelm yourself and flood yourself with the news that is sensational of, oh, be afraid here, oh, get pissed off here. You're going to be staring at the abyss, my friends. You're going to be staring at the abyss, and this is not what the James A. Hendricks School of Leadership was founded upon. Was founded upon God's hope. Now, I know Texas Tech University is a public secular school. But I do know, and I do remember a couple of experiences, like the See You at the Pole rallies. Let me tell you something. We need to have a comeback of those. Okay? Used to go to the flagpole for a couple of years in a row, and when I pray, join a group of people praying for this country. Alright? And then, of course, the National Day of Prayer. I remember some students ascended en masse to the flagpole at the Memorial Circle. Yeah, Memorial Circles where people love to pray. And my prayer spot was the fountain in front of the Texas Tech seal. Hey, Reckham Tech, huh? Reckham Tech. So now you know where we stand and where we have to be. We can still save America, but we need a praying America. We need America that reads the scriptures, Americans that go to church, Americans that develop themselves. Because I'm serious. Biden and the Democrats would do anything to strip our rights away. And there's a few Republicans, I'm sure, that are in on it too. Okay? People ask me, are you either Democrat or Republican? And I tell them how I vote in the state of Texas. Now, that's for me and my close friends only. I won't tell my audience because I want to have a national reach. And my national reach, folks, I'm a conservative federalist. I'm a conservative federalist because I see good and evil in both parties. And in some ways more evil nowadays. As everything gets more evil. I've gotten to where I follow the counsel of one of my best friends, Bishop Dave, by just cutting back the news sources. And even my brother-in-law, Justin, God bless him, he limits his news sources. He says, I watch too much, Jimmy. I get anxious. So, guys, I want you to think about this. We can still save this country. Can't we? Why not? We have a decision to make. I mean, this is your red pill for the day. And I wasn't even going to come on for the day. But I want to kind of do a little thing about your own personal development as well as a news analysis, okay? We can fix things proactively. I think the reactives on both ideologies and both sides of the aisle have taken over the political discussion. I mean, we can't even agree to disagree anymore. Okay? That's the problem. And one thing I said a couple of days ago, yesterday rather, on my show, Empower Your Pattern 2.0, I said this, and I'll say this on this podcast show and any others that I have. I'm not a reactionary. I'm not a provocateur, and I don't use either one to motivate people. Now, I may use a little, mock humor, but the mock humor is that all this negative thinking that is stripping away our hope in this world. I mean, it's like, come on. Give me a freaking break. We as a country, we as a people, need to approach politics more proactively this Labor Day. Some of you are probably getting together and having a cookout with your family and friends for Labor Day. I myself am most likely going to, probably going to grill some tuna and some mashed potatoes and some asparagus. Okay? Are you ready for that? And then, dessert, I'm going to have a lemon. I'm still going to live sensible. I mean, just because I had to modify Atkins to proto-Atkins doesn't mean I'm not going to live sensible. Okay, so now, but the excuses we have in keeping the making this country great on the macro and macro level, let's collectively as a country take an impact wrench and remove those things. Because one thing, I'm going to say this. I'm going to speak my heart. The week of August 18th, I almost lost hope in America. The buzzwords of the woke culture and this brand here and this brand there. Why are we playing brand wars? I'm not. Listen to me. I'm not a reactionary. I am not a provocateur. I motivate people. I want to bring hope. There's too much despair in this country. And what I'm going to tell you about my life, it's not a sob story. Okay? Because I don't want no pity. I was born legally blind with multiple birth defects. Just people don't see those other multiple birth defects unless they look up closer, unless they're a doctor. Okay? And I was gonna wait and talk about this some other time, but well, it's out in the open. I can't step out of this now. My biological father, in some ways, he went nuts. When he found out I was blind, he told my mother, he said, I can't handle it. And as I got older, say 7, 8, 9, 10, at those times I was afraid of heights and afraid of water. And I could tell the wheels turning in my dad's head. And he was like, kid's afraid of heights, afraid of water. What's wrong with him? But I was lucky. I had a good, strong mother. Half Scotch, Welsh, Irish, and a quarter, I think, of Choctaw Indian. And let me tell you something. The man she married next, that they were married for the rest of their life, for the rest of Daddy's life, she and my daddy, they raised me to be strong. Because the kids would pick on me on the playground at school, you know. If people want to sit there and play level games, go someplace else. Go play someplace else. Because with all the names that I was called in the school playground, square eyes, 4 eyes, midget, fatty. That combined with the issues with my dad, you know what it did? It led me closer to God. And let me tell you something. That made all the difference in the world. I got closer to God. In the traditional Protestant Christian tradition, I got saved on December 11th, 1981. But something my mother said the next morning put me on the rest of my faith journey. She said, even though you're saved, you still are going to sin. Now, there was another moment where my mother was beaming with pride. I was 17 years old. The school district had held me back for 3 years because they had that slow learner label on me. But I was getting ready to enter the 9th grade, and I won my first Best in Speech award. And my speech teacher said, this young man, he may be blind, but he can read a 5-minute speech without ever reading the note. Came home. My mother made sure that trophy was put in a safe place in their house for all to see. And then we went to see both grandparents. And I could just hear the joy in my mother's voice. Oh, James, he really made me proud this week when he won that Best in Speech award. And I still remember what that speech teacher said. James can make a 5-minute speech without ever reading a note. I am so proud of him. Let me tell you something. I could put tears in a man's eye to know that at least one of your parents is proud of you. Now, my daddy has long since gone to heaven about 14 and a half years ago. But I know that he's smiling on me. I was going to go through 36 minutes. And something tells me I may not be able to go much longer. I don't know. I guess I just need to laugh. I had a friend of mine from a not so recent past. And some friends are coming to me and say, he's saying stuff about you on the internet. I don't care. What? What's wrong with you? You should join us in demanding to have it put down. I don't care. But why? Let me tell you something. As a Latter-day Saint, you don't play the reactionary game on social media. Our lead theologian back in 2018 warned us about that. The theologians have been warning us about that for years. And you know what? I'm rarely on social media unless I'm wanting to share something hopeful. I used to go on there all the time and complain. And then especially when I broke my leg. But when I went to a church conference, when I watched it at home, and I heard the new theologians say, hey, try to cut back on social media. It's ruining our families and it's ruining our kids. And it hit me. That's why I started podcasting. My flagship podcast, Empower Your Pattern. It's because don't get me wrong, social media can do some wonderful things. It can be a wonderful marketing tool for business and stuff. But there's another story by a psychiatrist who's telling people go back to church because of loneliness. And one thing he said is that cell phones and social media are making us the most disconnected society ever. But Jimmy, they're not going to sense they're trashing you on something. Let them do it. Let them do it, because you know what? It shows me how small they really are. When I went to graduate school, I remember one of the students complaining. And the bus driver said, takes a lot of guts to go on behind a keyboard and spread crap. But he said that person will never do it to your face. And if you can't talk negative baloney BS to my face, and you're talking crap about me on the internet, I want nothing to do with you. I'm not going to dignify it. I'm not a reactionary. I'm not a provocateur. Okay? I'm just not. And when I start seeing myself becoming that, I start seeing myself become a reactionary. I start seeing myself to become a provocateur. Then it's time to shut it down. I'm not playing around. Now, I know everybody, they have the reasons to want to react. They have the reasons to want to provoke. I'm sorry, I don't want to play that game. Because that game is hopeless. And it accomplishes nothing. What does it do? It increases our heart rate. It increases our blood pressure. I had to learn early on that sometimes social media can be a place for provocateurs. And, back in 2010 when I first discovered, Facebook, I remember I had one of my friends say, Jimmy, that I was going to business school. He said, Jimmy, watch it. Watch it. Oh, dude, this dude's messed up. No. It's not that bad. Come on. It's not that bad. He was right. And that's why I'm very rarely on social media unless I'm promoting something that's hopeful. Unless I'm promoting a solution. I think far too much that's in politics right now is not solution driven. And it hasn't been in a while. Oh, well, complain about this. Complain about that. We're messed up here. We're messed up there. You're going to be like that. Get out of my face. I'm aware of what's wrong. I'm aware of what's wrong. And we've got to be resolved and tough and proactive. But if we're going around reactive, complaining about the problems without offering a solution, you're part of the problem, and it don't work well with me. I remember I was in graduate study, and I was briefly studying healthcare policy and management. And one of the courses I took, it was the same professor I had for a political theory class. And somebody was coming in, spewing out, a bunch of levels of, well, Bush is not doing this, and Bush is not doing this. And the professor got angry. He was like, whoa, check it. He said, first rule in my class, we're to be objective. Leave your ideology at the door. And some people want to say, well, that's harsh. To me, it's not. If you want to know the truth and be objective about it, then that's the way it should be. But Jimmy, doesn't that mean that you're compromising on principle? Doesn't that mean that you're compromising on principle? No. I'll never compromise on principle. But I'm gonna borrow a story from my a friend in my past. Should say distant past, named Jim Bob. I knew him for 25 years. He had some crush on some girl and it messed up. And one day, he was running around the schoolyard, the school for the blind. He was screaming, "My pants are on fire, my pants are on fire." You know what? Jim Bob was a reactionary. You go around, the sky is falling, the pants are on fire, the pants are on fire. You know what? The way I was brought up, you didn't do that crap. Shut up, stop doing that. Or you're going to get your whipping. Now, however, though, I'm not saying muffle up your feelings and stuff like that. But complaining about the problem all the time is not going to fix it. We can still save America. This celebrity, I said it. We can still save America. And you can come to me and you say, but Jimmy, I'm just one man. I don't have a wife and kids. You know what? I don't either. But that's no excuse for not providing hope wherever you are. I can sit there and complain and pinch and moan about how bad things are. Or I can get up and do something about it. We are Christians. We're called to be salt and light. But Jimmy, somebody could get offended. Somebody could get... Are we going to keep playing that game? Are we going to keep playing that game? My daddy, the one that raised me, he taught me one value early on. He would say this to us kids: if you're getting offended all the time, it's no use. And I remember I was studying paralegal study, and I remember I said something to somebody, and they got offended. And I was having dinner one night a week with my parents. And I told my daddy about the dying dialogue, and he's like, "So what? There's things I don't have a problem with. Except for somebody that gets offended all the time is somebody that's bound to piss me off." I mean, don't get me wrong. Daddy was not a man of deep feelings. He was a stoic. In many ways, so was my sister. But let me tell you something. Neither one of them were provocateurs, and you better not push their buttons. That was the culture I was raised around. And also my maternal grandfather. You're going to sit there and complain about the problems without trying something, then get out of my face. I have no use for that. We're either going to work together to fix the problems, or it's just going to come apart anyway. It's like one time, I remember, I must have been about maybe 15. My brother got mad and slammed the back door in my parents' house, in my grandparents' house. And my granddad said, "Hey, you come back here. You're going to close that door 15 times slowly so that you learn your lesson." In other words, the one lesson I learned from Granddad, and God bless his soul: stop being so reactionary. Stop being so reactionary. No, nobody wants to hear it. And I'm not playing that game either. I'm not playing that game either. So get ready. Take care, guys. Hope you enjoy listening to the James A. Hendricks School Leadership. If you'd like to hear it, please subscribe and become a part of the James A. Hendricks School Leadership Classroom. Tomorrow, Recovering Free Enterprise. Until next time, keep up the hope. I want you to keep up the faith. I want your chances with him. Jesus saves and I'm okay. Which means Jesus saves and we're all going to be okay. Take care and be proactively informed. And remember this, from the bottom of my heart, Jenny loves you. I really love you.